Hello to our friends in Manchester. My name is Philip Rouleau with Rultract, and I'm going to guide you through the OR setup of the Rultract retractor for your upcoming case. Now what you see here is how the Rultract is going to look on the OR table once it is set up and ready for use. First, we are going to take the Rultract table clamp. This clamp will attach the Rultract retractor to the OR table bed rail. Turn the knob counterclockwise all the way in order to be sure that these jaws are opened all the way. Also, turn your wing handle counterclockwise to be sure that this is opened all the way as well. Now we're going to take this clamp and we're going to put it onto the OR table bed rail. Before doing that, you're going to feel for any possible obstructions or look for any possible obstructions, and then feel for a space to put the clamp. Right at about the patient's axillary, maybe a little bit below or above, you're going to put the clamp on the rail. Now, it's important when you put the clamp on the rail that you're clamping in between the bolts. There are bolts that hold the rail on the table. You don't want to clamp onto a bolt because that can result in the clamp not having a good purchase on the rail, and then the retractor would move. So once you find that space, you're going to put the clamp onto the rail, and you do this by putting the top jaw on the rail and then slowly rotating in while putting pressure on the jaws to bring them together. Don't close them all the way, then it won't rotate in, but just put a little bit of pressure on, rotate the clamp because you may not be able to see the lower jaw hitting the rail. Continue to squeeze lightly, and then once it gets a good purchase on that rail and grabs the rail, you'll hear it. So I'll do it again. Put the top jaw on, squeeze a little, rotate in, and then you can hear it grab the lower rail. Now something very important here is to squeeze these jaws together on the rail and continue to squeeze them together while you turn the knob. Do not use the knob to bring the jaws together on the rail because, again, you won't get a good purchase and the retractor could wobble or move as a result. So put the top jaw on, rotate in while squeezing, then you'll hear it grab the rail, continue to squeeze your jaws together. Now you're going to tighten this knob while you're squeezing the jaws onto the rail. Takes about 8 turns until it's tight, and then at this point you're going to want to tighten it just as tight as you can. If somebody that has less hand strength is tightening this knob, bring somebody in that has more hand strength, that may be a little bit stronger, to tighten it, because having this as tight as it can on the rail is very important, especially if you have a larger patient. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that as tight as I can. Now I'm going to put the bottom post in. It's very important to note here that the bottom post has a bend in it. This is designed to provide space for the patient's shoulder. So this bend has to go away from the table when you put it into the clamp. If you put it in any other way, you'll have a problem with positioning and also with not providing enough space for the patient's shoulder. So again, this is how it goes into the clamp. Now, because you've already opened your wing handle all the way, you can go ahead and just put that bottom post into the clamp. Now you're going to want to tighten the wing handle. That provides stability for the bottom post. Go ahead and tighten that. It doesn't have to be as tight as you can like this knob, but it should be tight. Now we're going to take the top post. Obviously this top post has to go straight across the table to go over the patient's chest. So you go ahead and drop it into place. Make sure that it's going straight over the table. There are splines cut into this, allowing it to be angled at 18 degrees around the table for different procedures. So if you don't have it going straight across the table, you will not have proper positioning for the IMA procedure. So just stand behind it, make sure it's going straight across the table, and then kind of wiggle it, make sure that it has a good purchase. The two posts are together and locked into position. Next, you're going to take your Rultract ratchet assembly. There's a lock knob on this. When it comes from SPD, I'm not sure if it's going to be opened or closed all the way. It should be right in the middle, but in order to put it on the top post, open it all the way, and you'll be able to see that there's no obstruction here. If this was closed, you can see that this pin would be an obstruction to putting it on the top post. So I'm going to open it all the way, and then I'm going to put it onto the top post. Important here as well, the cable and the spool should be over the patient's chest, and the handle should be out toward the patient's head. That will allow for proper positioning. Go ahead and put it onto the top post. The surgeon may do this. They have a certain place they like to position it. So if she wants to put this on herself, of course she can. And then she'll put it into position and then lock it down in between the guide marks. She'll lock it down into a detent on the top post. Detents on the top post are what you see here. They're detents, they're not holes, but that's what will lock your retractor into position. Make sure that it is locked into position and won't move. And then of course you'll take your rake plate assembly and put it on to the snap clip. I just want to say to the surgeon, thank you for the many, many years of support using the RuleTrack in various locations. I hope everything goes well for all of you this morning. Good luck.